All right, I was thinking it would be useful to demonstrate how we do a derivative using product rule and chain rule all together. So this problem here, this h of t, is from the activity that we did today. I think it's number 3. And it let you just look it up in Wolfram Alpha, but why not use this as an example? So we could start by rewriting this as like 15 plus 15 e to the minus t over 3 cosine t. And the purpose of that is just looking at this thing is a constant, right? And the derivative of a constant is 0. So when we take the derivative, that term is just going to go away. Okay, so if we now kind of separate, let's call this f of t, and we can call this other part g of t. Because then we know with the chain rule that h prime of t, or dh dt, you can write it either way, those are equal to f prime of t g of t plus f of t g prime of t, because with the product rule we take the derivative one at a time. Okay, so now let's figure out what these things are. So let's find f prime of t, because this is where we're going to be taking the chain rule. We have d dt of 15 e to the minus t over 3. Now, when you take the derivative of an exponential function, like we have here, we get e to the whatever. The derivative is e to the whatever. So we just rewrite that. Oh, and we have our 15, because 15 is really just a spectator here. So we do e to the minus t over 3. But we're not done. This is where we have to do the chain rule, because we have not just t, but minus t over 3. So now we multiply 15 e to the minus t over 3 times the derivative, which is minus 1 over 3. And again, if it was just e to the t, the derivative of t with respect to t is 1. In this case, we have minus t over 3. So we get the derivative is minus 1/3. Using our exponential rule. Or using, let's see. So right here, we use the exponential rule. And then in the second step, we used the chain rule. It's not very nice looking. Let me try that again. Chain rule. And here we use the exponential rule. Okay. G prime of t is really pretty simple, actually. G prime of t is the derivative with respect to t of, what do we have? Cosine of t. Which is just minus sine of t. That's one of our rules. If you want to prove it to yourself, you can follow what we did in activity 12, and like we did with the derivative of sine of t. So now we can put these all back together, and we get h prime of t is f prime of t. So we get minus 15 over 3 e to the minus t over 3. And we multiply that by g of t, which was cosine of t. And then we add to that f of t, which is 15 e to the minus t over 3, times g prime of t, which is minus sine of t. So if we want to remind ourselves where those came from, this here is f prime of t. This is g of t. This is g prime of t. Nope. This is f of t. And this is g prime of t. Now we could stop here. We could clean it up a little bit. You notice that there is an e to the minus t over 3 in both. there's a 15 in both, and there's a minus sign in both. So maybe what I would do is pull out minus 15 e to the minus t over 3. And then what I'm left with is 1/3 cosine of t plus sine of t. And you probably had something like that Wolfram Alpha gave you today. But that is how you could work it out by yourself using the product rule and the chain rule.